Welcome to Brain Drain, the podcast where we think thoughts about things and discuss the thoughts we think. I'm Mercedes.
And I'm Carlos. In this episode, we're thinking about injuries.
All right, Carlos, so have you ever had a serious injury?
What makes an injury serious?
That was going to be my next question.
Oh, okay, great. Well, nothing that's kept me down for a week or something. I have not broken anything yet. That's very fortunate,
Mm-hmm.
But I was bit by a dog. He ripped me off my bike. Okay, all right. So I would ride my bike around my neighborhood, and there was this house with this huge dog, and it'd always run to the end of its chain and bark at me. And I was totally aware of it, but I'd ride around all the time. And I guess today it broke free, not today, that day it broke free, and it chased me, and I just booked it on my bike, and it got a hold of my right butt cheek and tore and ripped and just threw me on the ground and just dug into me. And then his owner finally called him away, and he just walked back to his house. And so I had to walk home with a bloody butt. And I went back home. My mom took me to the emergency room. So
Did you have to get stitches?
I don't think so. So just dug into me pretty
What
good.
kind of dog was this?
I don't know. It was a blur. It was quick. I'm not sure what it was. I think it may have been some sort of German Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
So it was a pretty good sized dog.
I remember when I was a kid across the street, they had this huge sheepdog. Vicious thing. It went after everybody except the owners of it, the two owners. But I mean, it went after me, it went after the neighbors, it went after my parents. The sheepdog's owners would actually tie it up to the water turn off, or one of the meters where it would register, so that way they would not turn off their whatever it was, their power, their water.
Genius.
Because it was such a vicious dog and everybody was terrified of it.
Oh.
My parents actually owned this real estate property.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think my parents even got letters about this dog because it was on their property. And I know the owners got letters about this dog.
Yeah.
And it was just such a vicious dog. I actually never received an injury from it, though. But when I was 3, I was at my grandma's house, and she had this big dog. I'm pretty sure he was just a mutt. But his name was Fred.
Wonderful name.
And he was just this fat dog.
Aww.
And he loved to eat. And so I loved dogs even then, and I was always wanting his attention. And so I was getting to where I guess I was annoying him, and he was eating, and he would growl to warn me. My grandma would say, Now Mercedes, don't you be messing with that dog when he's eating. He doesn't like that. He's warned you once, he's warned you twice. And she would get on to me every time he would growl at me, but I would not learn. He finally went and he attacked me.
Oh.
And he bit me or clawed me. I don't remember it, but apparently it was a big deal, and my cheek was bleeding. And I was in tears. I was screaming. My grandma was screaming. She called my parents, and they were like, "Calm down, you're screaming. We can't understand you." And she's like, "I have to shoot my dog. I have to kill him.
Oh my
He attacked
God.
Mercedes." And my parents were like, No, calm down. We don't know what is going on. You said Mercedes was annoying him. It's her fault."
Yeah.
And come to find out, I was bleeding a lot, but it was just this tiny little mark on my cheek.
Yeah.
And they did not put the dog down.
Well, jeez.
But that was...
So you don't mess with dogs eating now?
No, I still do.
Okay, yeah, great. You didn't learn anything.
No.
Except now I can dodge them. Now I'm just quicker. Thinking back on, childhood injuries and whatnot, I remember I was playing outside with my little brother, and I was teaching him how to golf. I don't know how to golf. So we had a golf ball and I had a golf club. Or no, I think I had a bat, and he had a golf club. And I was
Why did you have a bat?
Well, I think it was for demonstrating, is what it was. But I, I don't remember. I missed the ball or something, and so I bent down to pick it up, and my brother just swung with all his might and hit me in the head. And like, I just remember everything just tilting and turning, and I just hit the ground. And I got up, went inside to my mother, and like felt the back of my head, and I was just bleeding like crazy. And like, I just started screaming and crying. And I don't remember if my brother cried. I feel like he started crying when I started crying. And I think, yeah, we did go to the emergency room for that one. But I don't think I got stitches for that.
Spent a
I
lot
have
of
not
time in the
had
ER.
I have not had stitches either.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't stand needles, so.
at least to my memory, I have not had stitches. If I have, I'm just repressing it.
It's such a traumatic experience you just don't remember.
Basically.
Your parents are like, oh yeah, I've had plenty of stitches. Oh, great.
That explains all the blackouts.
Blackouts.
Let's see. Okay, so I think I was about 8 at the time. I was in 2nd grade. So you can do the math, whatever that is. And it was recess, and I was out on the yard, or whatever you call it.
Playground. On the yard, prison terms. I was out in the yard.
No, I was out on the playground,
Yeah.
and I was doing monkey bars. And my friend was there, and she was like yanking on me, and just horsing around like friends do when you're 8 years old.
Oh.
And she pulled me off accidentally. But when she pulled me off, my leg was completely twisted 180.
Ooh.
And I fell on it. And she fell on it too.
Oh.
So we broke my ankle. But I was a quiet kid. I did not want to cause a whole bunch of
Didn't want to
panic.
cause a scene.
And so I tried to ignore it.
Oh my god.
And so I walked back into the line when it was time, like when recess was over, and I was hurting, and I sat down because you had to sit down on the ground,
Yeah.
and then you'd have to stand back up. And I remember it hurting, but I just kind of like limped to class, and we were doing like a spelling bee thing against like half the class against half the class, and I was standing by one of my friends, a different friend than the one that had pulled me down, and she was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, I did something. I fell on my ankle. It's not right, but I don't want to tell anybody. I'm scared. And so she was like, okay. And she raised her hand. She's like, Mercedes needs to go to the nurse.
Oh,
and she
what a
ratted me out.
snitch. Yeah, what's up with that?
And so I went to the nurse, and she's like, I think it's broken. I was like, no, I think it's gonna be okay.
I think it's fine. Tears in your eyes.
But then she called my parents. And my parents came and picked me up, and by the time they got there, I could no longer walk on it.
Oh.
But I hadn't cried.
Yeah.
And so my parents took me, they made an appointment with my doctor. And so I went to my doctor. And it was like the 2nd or 3rd day of school of the year. So it's still hot, still like August. And my dad and I actually had plans to go to Whitewater. And so we went in, and we, get our x-rays. He's like, well, it's broken. You're going to have a cast. And so I'm like, well, how long am I going to have it? And he's going to be like, well, the swelling needs to go down. That's going to take like 6 weeks before the swelling goes down.
Oh.
And I was like, so I can't go to Whitewater?
Oh.
And he's like, no, you can't. And I started crying. That's when I started crying, was when he told me I could not go. And I was miserable.
That's heartbreaking.
It was terrible. But then, I finally get it. And like 6 weeks go by, my ankle's still too swollen for a cast. So we have to like extend it a little bit longer. Finally get my cast, go through the process. One of the teachers at the school, I was on crutches, and she told me I was too slow and I needed to speed up.
Oh.
And so I did, and I fell.
Oh. Did you look at her? You should have made eye contact on the ground. Look at her. You did this.
Well, then she said, well, I don't know why you're going so fast.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was such like a low profile kid that it killed me inside.
Oh.
And then, months go by. I finally get my cast off. I'm in PE, and I hurt it in PE. I don't remember how, but something
trying
happened.
to play with your cast?
But I got it off. But it's like right after I got off, like 2 or 3 days after. And I twist my ankle, and so it's fine. It's just sore, so I have to chill for a couple of days. And then Dad and I go to Walmart, and we're walking out of Walmart back to our car, and this old lady, she should not have been driving.
Oh gosh.
She hits me with a car and runs over my ankle. And like my dad's like knocking on the window, telling her to stop. She won't stop, but she's like creeping because it's a parking lot. She's going like really slow, so it's taking forever. And he's like pounding. She's like, "You ran over my kid!
Oh,
stop!"
Geez.
And it was just like this terrible like months of just like pain. Like my when she ran over it, it did not get the whole ankle. It just got like the side of the ankle and the foot and stuff. But it was just after it being broken and then me injuring it at school again and then getting it ran over. It was a very long process.
That was a bad year for you.
That was a bad year.
Terrible year.
It was a very terrible year.
So does it, like, can you, what I'm trying to say is, like, when the weather is weird,
yes,
it hurts?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I always thought that was weird. Like, I haven't broken anything, but I've always heard people that, broke their arm or their leg or something. Like, when the weather changes or something like that,
like when it's going to rain.
Yeah, they hurt. And so I've never really looked into that. It's just something I've always heard,
Yeah. And it doesn't...
it
actually stopped for like a long time.
Uh-huh.
Like in high school, it did not hurt nearly as much. But now... And I wouldn't even say that I'm getting old.
Now that you're an old woman.
But I am getting older, I guess. And so it's starting to do it sometimes again.
So that is by far the worst. I don't think I've had anything like that.
Yeah, that's been that's the only time I've ever broken a bone.
Yeah.
I am just like naturally accident prone though.
Yeah, getting hurt.
But that's been the worst thing that's ever physically happened to me.
I'm trying to think of something terrible that's happened to me to compete with that. I mean, getting hurt. Okay, I know one. This was back in middle school, of course, and we would okay, my friend had this big fence, like a big wooden fence with the pointed top.
Yeah.
And he had this piece of wood leaned up against his shed where the fence met it. And you could run up that piece of wood and hop over the fence. And we used to do that all the time. Like after school, we'd run to his house, run up this wood propped up against the shed and hop over the fence. Well, one day it's raining, and of course we're walking home and it's raining, and this huge dog just comes out of nowhere and just starts chasing us. And so we start booking it, running towards...
You don't have a good experience with dogs.
No, I don't. But I love dogs. I do love dogs. But you see why I didn't like big dogs for the longest time. I only liked little dogs, but now I like big dogs. But this dog starts chasing us, and we come up to the fence, and he just clears it perfectly. Runs it up, hops over, and I do it. And as I'm running towards it, my foot slips on the piece of wood, and I just barely get my body over. But it catches me on my stomach, the top of the spiked wood fence.
Yeah.
And it just drags all the way up my chest, and my shirt catches on the fence. So now I'm hanging from the fence by my shirt, and I'm screaming, get me down, and my friend's laughing at me. And so finally unhooks me, and I was wearing a white shirt, and we go and sit down in his living room. Or before we went and sat down in his living room, I was like, I think I scratched myself. And so we looked at my shirt, and yeah, there's a scratch, but no blood. And so he was like, well, let's rinse it off. So I was like, of course. So what do? We grab the water off the trampoline and rub it on the scratch. So we go and sit down in the living room, and it's just burning, like it just hurts, and we're just sitting there talking. I don't know about what, but he goes, "I think you're bleeding." And I look down at my shirt, and there's this huge line of blood just all the way across my white shirt. And we lift it up, and of course, I'm just bleeding. And we get a bunch of Band-Aids. The only Band-Aids he had were Hello Kitty Band-Aids. And we had just lined them all the way down my chest. And then we went to this like after school church program thing, and we went to that. And I had this bloody white shirt on with all these Hello Kitties Band-Aids on me. But I remember going home, and my mom was a nurse, and she just was so upset that we did that. And she took me to the hospital the next day. And for about a week after that, I had to go in, get it checked and looked at because it got me pretty deep. And we'd have to rip the Band-Aids off, or the bandages he put on me, and then apply new bandages. And it was just a terrible week. Now I have this really cool long scar across my chest.
Your battle scar.
Yeah, it's a battle scar.
Another story. This one actually is not about me. It's about you.
Oh, yeah? Do I not remember it? Or did I get knocked out in this story?
Possibly. Okay, so it was Halloween. Couple of years after we met, and we were going to a friend of mine's house just to hang out, hand out candy, and
dress up.
Yeah, dress up. And your sister's like great at art. For those of you listening that don't know her, she's incredible. She's incredible at all that type of stuff, including face paint. So she gave Carlos this incredible, just like face skull paint thing on him.
Yeah.
And he was so proud of it. He was excited.
It looked awesome.
He was showing everybody. He was like sending pictures, like, look how my face paint's great. And he was so thrilled about this. So anyways, we're at my friend's house, and we're hanging out, and she's sitting on the stairs.
It's like winding down, like getting towards the end of the night.
It's the end of the night. I'm sitting next to Carlos. He's playing the guitar. Have 3 of our friends are sitting on the stairs, like further up from us, and one of them's like, Mercedes, and I'm like, what? And they're like giggling a little bit, but they're not able to talk. I'm like, what is it? They're like, something's on you. And I'm like, what's on me? And I start panicking, and I'm like, is it a spider? And she's nodding, and so I just like, I go into this panic mode. And for some reason, when I'm panicking, I just like, I'm throwing around
anything.
My own body parts, just trying to figure out how to get whatever is on me off. And so I throw my arm around to like reach back on my back. But as I'm doing that, I miscalculate and I throw it against Carlos.
It's like a right hook right to my chin. Like
it catches him off guard. He hits the wall. Literally 50% of his makeup comes off onto the wall, and he's bleeding out of the other half of his face. And he doesn't even know what's going on.
I didn't think you liked the song. I was like, oh, okay, next song. Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
And I don't remember anything else. It turned out it wasn't even a spider. It was just, they just wanted to get my attention for some reason.
That ended with me getting knocked out. Just this mean right hook catches me across the chin.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad injury. And then you started crying.
I did. I was afraid I hurt you.
Could have killed me.
I'm an empathetic crier. What can I say?
Yeah.
That's what I have in common with your brother. When you start crying, I start crying.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts crying. And
I didn't cry.
I think you blacked out for a second. You were just so like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When someone throws a punch at you and you think you're surrounded by loved ones, now there's a lot of questions going through your head. Oh, man.
Do you have any other stories?
Man, I don't think so.
Hmm.
I mean, I watched a kid get hit by a car. I mean, he was fine, perfectly fine.
Knocked out of his shoes, right?
Huh?
Was he knocked out of his shoes?
No,
He
he
wasn't?
just got. He was a mean kid that lived on my block,
Oh.
and he would ride by on his bike and shout mean things at me and my sister. And one day he's doing that, and he comes around the corner too quick, and a pickup is coming around the corner. He wasn't going fast or anything,
Yeah.
but he hit the kid, and the kid just went flying. Like he bit through his lip.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty bad injury, but I mean that was just me witnessing someone getting hit by a car. I mean it could have been much
Yeah.
worse than what it was, but
What's been your most embarrassing injury?
most embarrassing injury.
Yeah.
Huh. Like something that happened, like falling down in public or something?
Yeah.
I mean, the middle school that we went to had like the long staircase and I fell down the stairs.
Okay.
So I've done that. I mean,
Okay, mine was actually when I was an undergrad in college. So I'm supposed to be like completely competent,
being an adult.
be an adult, like pick my feet up, I guess.
Stop dragging your feet.
So I fell going up the stairs multiple times. And so it was to this point where I actually had a class with one of my friends, and she'd be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just fell down up the stairs again today, coming to class." But there was one time I was like rushing to class, and it was in the parking lot, and I tripped over my own feet, and I skidded. And so my jeans were just like bloody, and I had these like scrapes on my arms and my hands. And I get to class, she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And I'm just like, "It was just a rough morning."
Yeah, I just defended myself from muggers and, oh no. This isn't injured. This isn't me getting injured, but it's like my ego getting injured.
Okay.
I used to have a class on like the third floor at the college, and I was always late, and I'd have to book it up these stairs, and so I'd get to my seat in class, and I'd just be breathing super heavily, and like everyone would like stop, turn, and look at me, and I'd just be like, oh, that's embarrassing. So I wasn't hurt, but my ego was hurt.
I feel like at that point, if you're already late, you just gotta take a moment out in the hallway to catch your breath.
I didn't like being late, but I was always late. Terrible student.
Story of my life.
Now I've slipped on ice in public multiple times and fell pretty hard, but I think the majority of the time everyone's like, "Oh, that's expected."
Everyone else is slipping too.
Yeah, everyone else is too busy trying not to slip. Oh, I remember we went ice skating in Oklahoma City,
Yeah.
and I was so confident in not falling, and then I just bit it in front of everyone, like in the middle of the ice rink. So that was embarrassing, and it hurt.
I remember one time it was when you were working night shift and you forgot your work shoes.
I just had Vans.
And it was the day that you were about to get written up if I did not bring them to you.
Yeah.
So I came back to your apartment. Now keep in mind, like, it had been snowy and icy, and it was like 0 degrees outside, and it was dark, and like all the power was out. So it was just like this really creepy, eerie feeling, and it was slip. So I was going up your stairs, and there was this bag that was connected to it, but I did not know it was a bag, and I saw it moving, and it startled me, and I twisted my ankle, and I fell.
Trying to escape a bag.
Trying to escape.
See, you're that lady in the horror movies that trips over her own feet and gets killed by the
And then I was
murderer.
going back to my car, and like the next day, and I was trying to step off your curb, and I slipped. My feet slipped out from under me, and I hit my head on the curb. I don't.
Winter was trying to kill you.
Winter does try to kill me.
Mm.
That's why I just stay inside.
Yeah, but we go sledding,
Yeah,
and you could kill yourself there too.
but I haven't yet.
That's true. So we'll continue to go sledding.
Until I die.
Yeah.
So let's hope there's no ice storms coming our way anytime soon.
Yeah, it's hard to sled on ice.
Painful.
Yeah.
Another story about sledding and ice and injuries. Okay, so the middle school where we went to middle school, they have this, they called it the band hill. And so it was the hill you would walk down to go to the band room. And it was a steep hill.
It was asphalt too.
It was asphalt. And then at the end of it was a brick building. It was the gymnasium, like where they played basketball or whatever. But whenever it would get snowy or something, you would go sled on that hill.
Yep.
So my friends and I, it snows, it ices over, it does whatever it does. We decided we were going to go sled. Well, my friend, she has a skateboard.
Took off the trucks?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's a good idea.
And so that's what she goes down. And she slams into the brick wall.
Oh, full force.
Full force.
Did she put her arms up or did she just take it?
I think she crossed her arms in front of her face.
Protect the goods.
Yeah. But
I've watched a kid do a backflip off a wall in that area that you're talking about, and he landed on his neck.
Oof.
Yeah. So that was an injury that I witnessed, and the kid was crazy, but I remember watching him land and then just going limp. And I was like, oh my God, he's dead. But he just, I guess, knocked himself out or something. Poor guy.
So, listeners, what embarrassing injuries have you experienced in your life? Or witnessed. If you don't want to admit that they were yourselves. Leave your story in the comments. We'd love to read them. Until then, why don't you subscribe, share, like, and as we said, comment. We'll see you next time.
This has been Brain Drain.